Hello, guys, and welcome back. We have the last best of three of today, which is Balrogs versus Apu, King of Kings. Balrogs that comes from a pretty solid first match in this DPC. Now seeing if they can beat the Kings. But there is a slight caveat in this. If you guys might know, you guys follow the news for SA, which I hope you do. King Tekka has been sanctioned for one match, so he won't be able to play this match, which means they're forced to play with a stand-in. And since he was a big driving force behind Balrog's victory, we'll see how they fare without him. This wonderful panel, I have myself, I have Epulze joining me once again as a panel veteran now in Duster, and we have a panel newbie now. It's going to be Sexy Fat joining us for this wonderful game. How are you doing, Sexy Fat?
Hello. Doing good.
Yeah?
Thanks for asking. What about you?
Oh, good, thank you. Look, all these nice panels. Second time people ask me how I'm doing today, Sexy Fat. What a nice guy you are. What are your expectations for this match? Balrogs versus King of Kings. Do you think Balrogs can do it without their offlaner, or are you a fan of Kings?
I'm very anxious for this match, but I do believe it's gonna be 2-0 for Apu Kings. I don't know. I just feel it.
You have insight on them, right? You were in the team, what, like a month ago already?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how do you think they're faring now without you?
I think they're doing great. They, if I'm not mistaken, they went to the gaming house about 1 month ago, so I think they have 1 month to prepare. And when you're like face-to-face person, things get a little more productive. So I'm expecting some good results by them on this series.
Do you agree with that, Duster? Are you also a fan of the face-to-face?
Yeah, for sure. Bootcamps improves the team a lot, but can also make the team worse depending on how the atmosphere is. So you need to be careful. Like long bootcamps can make your team very, very bad, in my experience at least. It's just how it is when you spend a lot of time with people face to face. But yeah, they when I heard from their bootcamp, it's a nice house, a nice place, nice structure. So it should be pretty decent. It should be pretty good for them.
Is it? Do you say that because it's difficult to live with some people? As in, like the actual act of living, some people don't know how to, have flatmates per se. Are you referring to that?
Don't behave very well.
Yeah, there was a very famous interview that ESL did for their LAN, but a little bit before TI. I forgot what that is. So one summer, I think it was, and they got Beast Coast in, right? And they asked Stinger. I was translating this interview, and I didn't know how to translate it. It was just straight up offensive. I'm like, "Hey, Stinger, what's the worst part of a boot camp?" And he's like, "I have to share a bathroom with Schofield," and he just said that. And apparently, they had to get another toilet installed because nobody wants to share a bathroom with Schofield. He's like, he's an animal in there. I'm like, oh, what is he doing in that bathroom? But I think that's the kind of things that you're talking about, Duster. So I'm hoping Apu Kings has none of those issues. Balrogs, they're mostly from Lima, so they are somewhat face-to-face, but they don't have a boot camp themselves. And it seems like their offlaner... Oh, it's Arzen T. Oh my god, I haven't seen this guy in forever. Wow. Do you guys know Arzen T? Sexy Fat Duster?
Of course.
Okay. Sexy Fat, you're the offlaner of this panel, so tell me, what is your opinion on him as an offlaner? What is his strengths, weaknesses?
Like, I don't know him that much to know like strong and weakness, but he's I don't want to be offensive, but he's like an average offlaner, my opinion. I think he can.
No, it's not offensive.
Yeah, he can serve for the job.
Yo, what's up, dude? Welcome to
Okay, all right. But you don't expect him to be the level. Actually, what do you consider King Tekka? Do you think King Tekka is up there in terms of level?
I don't know. King Tekka had a lot of up and down in his career. Like, he was already like the best offlaner I've ever seen, and now I don't know. He's just too much unstable, I believe. But I think he's a decent phase of his career. If he keeps grinding, he will get insane again.
Yes. The famous saying that all the players I've heard talk about King Tekka, they always say, if King Tekka spoke less, he would be 10 times a better player. As Duster, can you tell me of these openings here? Oh, Weaver and Invoker. We've been talking a lot about Weaver because Thunder Awake has been running as a 3 here. Are you still a fan of the 4-5 Weaver that they're opening with here in Apu?
Yeah, and I also think it's Hani best hero. He plays amazing Weaver, and he plays more like a core Weaver on the position 4. He actually have a very interesting build. He goes threads, BKB on the Weaver, so I expect him to do something like this game. And from the times I play against him, he can actually carry with this Weaver. It's very exciting to see. And Invoker, of course, probably mini best hero or second best, close to Monkey King. So it's a very comfortable opening for them.
Are you surprised that they let that through in the first banning phase?
Not much, because you also have to ban a lot of heroes against Apu Kings. I feel like the Strength Protector they do very, very well, and of course the Monkey King from Mini. If you don't know how to play against it, it's the most annoying shit ever.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Something's gonna go through for Apu Kings always, and I guess they chose Invoker this time.
We had this discussion in the last panel, but I want to ask you now as well, Suxifat. Robotheta is one of the few mid laners that also plays Tiny Mid, and they don't always flex it to carry. Do you think that the Tiny Mid is in a good position right now as well, or are you also a fan of the Tiny Carry above everything else?
If the mid player knows the Tiny very well, and it's a Tiny spammer, I believe he can be better on mid lane than hard carry, because the impact this hero has when you really know him, it's huge. For example, Dark Mago. Dark Mago can carry matches. This Tiny is so fucking easy.
Yeah, I bet you. I mean, Dark Mago plays what, like 12, 14 pumps a day, all on the same hero. That guy is a hero spammer if I've ever seen one. Robotheta is up there as well when it comes to his Tiny plays. Of course, the setup with the Bane is not bad either. We'll see when they decide to flex it. If it was a mid lane matchup, is the Invoker okay against Tiny, or does he suffer a bit?
I believe Exort must go well against this Tiny. Because X, I actually don't know. I think both just farms.
Okay, right, fair enough. Why, Duster, you spoke highly about the Mini Invoker. Can you tell me why you think so highly of him? I know he's one of his signature heroes, but what are some things that Mini does really well in the Invoker that other Invoker players don't do?
I know that he used to play really, really good Fire Invoker, Exort Invoker. I don't know how...
Fire Invoker's cool. I like that.
I don't know how well it is in the meta right now. Probably not so much, but I remember back in the days he used to be sick with Exort Invoker. And since the late game, you're gonna escalate to Fire anyway, so I think his strongest point is this late game Invoker. When he gets items and scale, he plays a very good Invoker.
What makes you a good Fire Invoker? Is just like being able to summon the spells properly and doing it correctly, or is it like the Sunstrike that you're talking about? What aspect did you like about that?
Cool Sunstrikes are always nice, but you need to split push well, like the micro your Force Spirits well, use your Meteor to split push, your Travel Boots. You need to play the map well, pretty much, and of course always paying attention to Sunstrike. So. It's a very hard Invoker to play.
Yeah. As Balrogs, they're gonna run the Snap Fire now, which we have seen some teams run it as the offlane. Robotheta actually also plays in the mid lane, so kind of a flex pick to a degree here for Balrogs. Though previously they did run it as 4. Is the Snapfire in a good position right now? Some teams seem to highly value it, like Beast Coast, for example, and some teams completely ignore this hero. What are your thoughts on it right now, Duster?
I think the hero is very decent. It's just weird, like which position you're really gonna play it. Because as a 4, most SA players will prefer a roaming hero, and as a 5, you kind of have better options. So it's a very weird position since like in SA people even played a lot as an offlane. So it's in a very weird position. But I think the hero is very strong, especially in Radiant because of the Rosh advantage. So. With the Blightstone and maxing the 3rd spell, you can do Rosh pretty early.
Do you you talked about it in the previous panel yesterday that the Snapfire is a pretty static pick as a support, like as a 4 or 5, can't really rotate well. Is that something that the Apu Kings could abuse this game?
Yeah, and they went to run Encounters, for example, that's gonna rotate, bring creeps, take towers. It's gonna be a very active support. Both Encounters and Weaver, like hard supports to catch. Snapfire don't have a reliable stun to kill these heroes or punish them well, and doesn't do well against Encounters creeps also. So,
well, what is the why is the Enchantress not being picked as much in this region? If you look at NA or Western Europe, she's like first pick material, and in South America, it's kind of ignored her. Do you have any insight on that?
Honestly, I think it's just not a comfort pick for most people. Like you have to play a lot of games. You need to be used to microing creeps. And SA players are not the best at microing. We hardly play these heroes that micro, Broodmother and Chen and Kentress. So yeah, you need to play a lot with the hero to understand it.
Fair enough. We're going towards the end of the draft. Sorry, it's gonna be Apple King and Kings who picks first. They need a carry themselves. What do they lack in this lineup, Sexy Fat?
Apple Kings?
Yeah.
I believe a hero that goes jungle and flash farms for them. Like, cause the way I see 5 minutes, there's gonna be 3 heroes mid, and they need like something to just go jungle, I believe, and get farm.
Okay. So Terribly, for example, is an idea. What kind of carries would you think about here?
Actually, I don't know. Maybe PL for them, but I don't think Benny plays PL, so or doesn't like that much.
I think Benny does play PL. I don't know if it's like gyrocopter level, but I think he does. Duster, what are you seeing here? Any insight here?
I have a carry for sure to use Alacrity.
Okay,
TB's ban, Void's ban. What else Benny can play? The gyrocopter would fit nicely with the Alacrity.
Oh, it's a Benny Morphling. Since you guys both said at the same time, what do you guys think this hero stands right now ever since the E-Blade changes?
I think still pretty good, to be honest. Like, there's other builds you can do it and still have a lot of impact, and when the player loves Morphling, I don't know, man, you can do amazing stuff with this Morphling. I still have nightmares with Timado's Morphling, like,
yeah,
Morphling players are the worst. And Benny doesn't like that much this hero, if I recall, but he plays really well. But he says he doesn't like it.
Okay. Which is the final picks here. I'm going to ask you first, Duster. What lineup are you favoring more right now?
I'll go with Apple Kings. I feel like they have a very comfort pick. I like this Honey Weaver, I like Meaning Volker, and last time Dunya didn't play the Brass Sand King, but I think he learned from the mistakes, so I have high expectations.
Sexy Fat?
I go with the Apple Kings. I think they're playing in a really good comfort zone with their picks, and yeah, they should be fine.
Okay. Both players prioritize, or both panelists, sorry, prioritizing comfort here for Apple King and Kings. Will that bring in the victory in game number 1, or will Balrogs show us the power of the Tiny 4, which they ended up flexing in the Snapfire offlane? Very interesting. Let's see what happens as we go into game number 1 between Balrogs and Apple King and Kings with your casters Epulze and SeekNStrike Dota. Thank you, Avo. Indeed. Weird flex towards the end there of the Tiny and the Snapfire, to be honest. We have seen a little bit of Tiny 4, you and I, Richie, in Western Europe. Sorry, Tiny 3 in Western Europe. But, like, he's not the kind of hero that I think, oh, you flex him into 4 to allow a Snapfire 3 to come out. It's not particularly the hero I would love to see in the offlane position. It is something ours and TS played before in the past, but it is also true that Whisper is kind of crazy. Like, he's like a level above everyone else and he wins every single lane. And I don't think you can guarantee that with all the offlaners in SA.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fair. We have actually seen it position 4 as well. You're referring to Goon Squad, right? But we've seen it both. They've run it 3 and 4. So lots of people still think that the Tiny is viable in other positions. Of course, as the 4, going to be much more about going for the putting an enemy carry out of position, right? Morphling can be a little bit more vulnerable like that compared to some other cores, especially if you do manage to get a good jump on him before he gets off the strength gain and becomes high unkillable. I'm also a little bit concerned, to be honest, about the Morphling pick. Charlie, Morphling is one of his favorites heroes, also on Goon Squad. They picked it once. It was the only game they've lost since they formed the team. And I don't think the Goon Squad necessarily played that poorly of a game versus Wisla Krakow. I just think the Morphling wasn't really a hero that really shined, to be completely honest.
I agree with you. I mean, they were talking about, like, there's new builds to play. I'm assuming 65 was referring to the stats build that we've seen, like, 2 times, I think. We also saw, like, one NA game, if I recall, with the Morphling, which was the same idea. It's fine. I also do think that it's not like my favorite pick, but both of the panelists were right that Benny does like the hero, or he doesn't like the hero, but he plays the good Morphling, which is a rarity, honestly, for players.
Yeah, usually if you play one of these disgusting heroes, you kind of relish the fact that you're being disgusting to everyone else in the game, but apparently not this guy. At the runes, no action. There might be a little bit of action. It's Berna having to defend against Anasis, and is not going to do that successfully, so it looks like it's 2 for 2 still. No, sorry. No, 2 for 2.
No, 2 for 2 for 2. All right. Yeah, we'll see how this works out. I mean, I think the Morphling versus the Luna carry, though, is pretty solid as the game progresses, right? Especially because this might be one of the games you can still go E-Blade. Not because of your E-Blade, but Luna also gets a bunch of stats. Like, it's not actually crazy to do this against a Luna if you really wanted to force that out. I'm thinking more of a late game luxury item rather than I have E-Blade, I fight now, right? But it could be an option later on, and it still has the combo, of course, with Active Strike. There's a lot of abilities there.
Yeah, Sand King, right? Even a little bit of magic damage from the Invoker going to be amped there. So aggressive tri-lane for now. I suspect this is just something to guarantee the first wave for Sand King, one of the worst heroes level 1. Well, not very many powerful heroes at level 1, but he's definitely not one of those. There's going to be
he's by far. He's down there. He's down there. You're right. Like, yeah, obviously level 1 heroes are not the king all, but Sand King usually loses his lane level 1 to 3, right? That's usually his weakest levels. That's why a lot of people combine him with Mirana, because if you combine him with like Mirana or Hoodwink or some sort of kill potential 4, then you can actually get kills off the Burrow Strike level 1, but Weaver is not one of them. You need a secondary stun.
Getting on pause now. Very brief on pause. Speaking of level 1 heroes, Morphling, also not the best level 1 hero, right? He usually doesn't die in the early levels because, well, attribute shift is quite strong. But if you do have plenty of nuke damage, you can actually bully him quite hard. Right now, Balrogs looking to apply a little bit of that pressure. He's really enjoying Simply 2 based voice line.
That's a good voice line. that is a good voice line. Yeah, I mean, the Sapphire is one of the heroes that does bring a lot of that damage in, right? So she's going to be pretty good against the Morphling, I expect. You just need a couple of levels. Level 1 Scatter Blast, not good enough. You need, like, probably... I think once Sapphire gets, like, level 5 and stuff, she is a really good counter to Morphling when he runs around the map with low HP. Especially with the Blink Dagger build that offlaners can go for easily, and probably the Shard on top of that. Like, Sapphire can be a nuisance.
And now Benny's a little bit low, so he calls for his support, who has taken the first point in Chance. Not going to be too surprised if eventually we see a point in the Nature's Attendance, maybe even level 2, because Arzent is going to be able to pump out plenty of magic damage here, especially as he gets that second point into the Scatter Blast. It starts getting a little ridiculous. Yep. Second camp block here, though.
Yep. We see a bit of harassment.
The only problem on a Sexy Yogi, as he is going to drop 4 first blood, and is just picking up the kill there.
Yeah, the only problem I have with the Snapfire build, even though it's good against Morphling, it sucks against the Enchanter's creep, right? Like, you don't have sustained damage to deal with a creep, and it makes it really, really difficult for you to actually go and get it and survive against the onslaught of the Enchanted creep. Usually, once you get level 3 on Enchanters, that's when it becomes a big deal, because right now the creeps don't last long enough. As you can see, she might even die here. Serum, slowed by the Scatterblast. Benny, playing aggressively, want to kill RZT. RZT, you're going a bit too far. The creep's still hitting him. He has no damage block, so he's just gonna fall. And they give a free kill to Benny. That was really weird.
Yeah, a little bit too aggressive by RZT. They need to keep that in check versus the Morphling lane, right? It is. I mean, these are 2 heroes where their whole shtick is that they are deceptively hard to kill, right? And here, Serum, like I kind of predicted, at level 2, taking that point in Nature's Attendance. So they're really going to be looking to kind of stress the point there that we are deceptively tanky. That's with us. 1-1-1 sampler build for Dunna in the top lane, just to check in on what the Sand King lane is going. With a kill underneath his belt now, he is going to be feeling a little bit stronger here, and might decide to be a little bit more of a bully in the lane, now that he has a little bit more experience. Caustic's certainly annoying enough.
Yeah, I mean, the lane is going much better than I would expect it to, honestly, because Luna usually strong at the early levels, and Sand King has managed to stave off that early aggression, and now he's going to be able to actually have a lane, really, because he's reached that level 3, very big point of inflection. I'm also assuming Dunya would go for infused raindrops at some point, probably the best way to deal with the Luna.
Yogi and Hanasis fighting to the death. Probably just the death of Sexy Yogi, though. He at least dispatches of the Swarm Beetle, pulls the cheese out, but he cannot eat the cheese because he is dead.
Yes. Love that as well, fighting to the death, but of course your death. Let's be clear about who's dying here, Sexy Yogi. As usually Bane is okay against Weaver, has decent stats and everything, but if you have to play this aggressively, Weaver will punish you. You have to be really careful with your positioning. Weaver, obviously, really good at running people down. even if you have the base armor, it's not enough to deal with the consistent sources of damage of the Shukuchi. And now Hannes can also deny, quote-unquote, himself to the Dire Tier 2.
Yeah, that is the Ench finding a couple of CS here in the trees. Tiny unable to make a very easy rotation on over to the puck. On over to the Invoker. Not really a hero he's going to excel in catching, especially because Mini has decided he's opted into the earlier boots rather than just straight the Urn Rush, which is acceptable this lane. I don't think he or Roboseta are expecting too much action early here, other than just the little bit of harass. But Puck with a bottle and Invoker with level 2 Quas is simply just too much for him.
You're just going to die, Berna. One more hit from the Weaver will do the trick. Ah, they saved him! What a nightmare! Claps for Sexy Yogi. Hannes has had enough. He wants to cancel himself. He's going to go for Berna in the trees. He will get the kill. Hannes is taking down the Luna. And that's already the impact of the Weaver. It does not feel like this is a dual lane, Rich. It just feels like it's two guys who happen to be sharing the same space, but it's working out.
Two brothers share the same space. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and this is
interdimensional Richie.
Yes, I got you. This is this is a Weaver, of course, in his nerfed stage already. He's gonna have, I assume, Urn on the way. No, because he forgot that there's an Invoker on his team. It seems like they were probably having a little bit of communication, because Mini also, like I said earlier, it's not the most rare thing to see him go boots early, but usually Invokers do like to finish the Urn. It's really good stats, and if you do happen to get a kill, you know, you can really start snowballing early. So now Weaver has the 3 components for the Urn, just shy of the recipe. Luckily, you can use that Sage's Mask for a medallion, which he is going to be doing. As they will get
lane, they did relatively easy kill because you just went for the room. Sexy Yogi, though, in the top lane. There's going to be the Urn charge given to the Invoker. Bane kill doesn't really matter, but as you well pointed out, it's all about the Urn charge.
Yeah, and a crucial play by Mini is that he makes sure the wagon is dead, the enemy wagon that is dead before he rotates away. Puck can nuke a wave, but Puck on its own doesn't really do that much damage to the tower, so Mini makes that rotation, immediately TPs back mid, and he ensures that he's not going to be losing any tower advantage or anything like that for his play. Yes. Really, really heads up by Mini.
Yeah, very good point actually on the wagon. I like that he did that. Because as you said, Puck can't really do much but D-push. And Puck should actually be mirroring the Invoker's rotations. But frankly, it's difficult to match the rotational power of an Invoker early, as we see here. And going for ZXCA, it's going to be the Tiny in trouble. Has enough HP to tank this for now. We still have a Tornado. Yeah, he's not matching this at all. Benny, gonna gather this kill, getting one more Urn charge to Mini. Roboseta maybe playing a bit too passive because he had enough time to TP to that tower and actually...
Yeah, and he is a little bit lower on the mana, right? I mean, he did just use another Illusory Orb there, so he was at like 350 mana or something, definitely less than half. You need to use 75 to TP, the Puck combo's over 300, so like maybe he was doing the mental math and decided that, I'm sorry, I can't make that rotation. But did have the Invis Rune and 3 bottle charges, like, I do think that there was some play to be made there. Other than just letting this Invoker continue to snowball a bit here. Mini is having basically an uncontested game here as far as he's concerned with the Roboseta Puck.
That's true. Roboseta might be getting farm out of this, but I don't know what he can turn it into. As, once again, Tiny finds 2, but that's not enough. Yeah, he's just gonna die.
Comes right. Roboseta, yes, coil committed, but he didn't jaunt through. Kisses are good, actually, level 6 from the Arzen T off-lane Snapfire, standing in and knocking down Mini.
Benny kind of body blocked him towards the end. I think Mini actually might have had a chance to get away there. That was not ideal. I don't know. Well, maybe the residual damage was enough to kill off Mini, but that was not the best play. Still, it could have gone better. I don't think Tiny had to die for that, but overall, good rotation by Arzen T, particularly. Good use of the kisses, and especially since you didn't crush the Morphling in lane, which I think Snapfire is expected to do, it's a good recovery mechanism here as Dunya continues to push at top lane. Berna starting to feel the pressure.
Benny's into the jungle, and he is going to start getting some ridiculous farm here. He not only has now the Morbid Mask, but he got the perfect neutral item, Possessed Mask. This is exactly what he wants. It's a little bit weaker now that it only heals for 7 HP. It's no longer percentage based, but I mean, it's perfect for Morphling, pardon me. He doesn't mind that active, passive. Lane, Sexy Yogi's likely just dead here yet again. Medallion now finished up. This is even more minus armor to combo with the Swarm, and Mini is nearby to refill the Urn.
And that's also good for pushing in this early tower. Well, Ace
Rune in the bottle, and the coil now just off cooldown.
This could be 2 or even 3 kills, honestly. Depends on what Mini does. Oh, Mini, discover the smoke. Do we have Tornado? We do not just yet. They want Dunya. He's not the easiest kill either. Dream Coil used, the cookies missed. Sandstorm in a second, I charges the Epicenter. They toss over Mini, but Mini's happy to fight because the Epicenter already been committed. RSND is going to die as Apu King of Kings has got a free kill off this. Balrogs, this rotation did not go the way they expected. I mean, they won't take the tower, sure. At least Puck defends the tower, but that was freebie for Apu King of Kings, who's now also pushing bottom with a solo Enchantress.
Yeah, I mean, Ench is pushing bottom, right? I wouldn't say Apu Kings are pushing bottom. Just Ench.
This is true. Yeah, this is so nasty, man. Oh my god.
25 damage to Hannes. This is not going to scare him, though.
Up lane.
It's tankier than that.
Sexy Yogi. Sexy Yogi. The Cold Snap plus the Swarm plus the Urn makes it impossible to move. He's dead.
I know. Yeah,
you don't need to steal the kill with that Tornado Mini, but you know, it looks cool.
His rotation's just not really matching the pace, the tempo that Mini seems to be bringing. He's staying even in terms of at least net worth. In fact, he's leading the Invoker by a bit, thanks to him kind of staying a little bit more stationary, right, just straight up in the lane. But even when he has rotated top lane, just now, it hasn't really worked out for him as well as it has been working for the Invoker, who gets a nice friendly toss from the Tony. Luna, though, Berna into the triangle at the very least is going to be making pretty decent progress towards the Dragonlance with the completed Mask of Madness. This is going to, pardon me, abandon the top lane basically to Donhai now. And, well, he's a Sand King, so he'll have this tower down in basically no time, especially if he keeps this wagon alive, which I hope he does, but right now I don't think he's going to... Okay, I mean...
Be able to.
Yeah, sure. I think he probably could have tanked the tower a little bit there, but, you know.
Yeah, I agree, especially because for Ring of Health, he actually has a little bit of, you know, nice regen. Sexy Yogi is getting way too much experience out of this top lane. Gotta kill him. Gotta fix this.
That's why. The Bane Fiends group is actually quite strong this game, I think.
Yes.
But okay, gonna be strong if you can kill him. Still got level 5 off of the wave, but he is gonna take the death, and this is now likely the tower going down.
I agree. I think that should have happened. I think that should happen earlier. The Bane thing. Like I feel like you're right. This is the kind of lane where honestly, who cares if Bane gets items, right? Like, is there a good item for Bane? Not really. But the experience is a key point. So stopping that Fume Script is major. As bottom,
Tornado.
Tiny. That was a good tornado. And Betty gets the kill. Proper carry antiques.
Even went ahead and morphed as the Tiny, gave him a little bit of the Avatos himself. Of course, probably a little bit disappointed to not find a single point in the tree toss, but it is a support Tiny, so. What you're going to get. Vessel now nearly fully online for Mini. He is going to get this one if he gets both of the CS. There's one. Well, he actually only needs the one thanks to the bounty rune being picked up by Serum. Bottom is currently being sieged by Balrogs. Witchblade now finished for Robosetta, so maybe this is what he was waiting for to actually get a little bit more involved in the fights. We'll see here how he makes use of the increased damage output now for the Puck.
We'll see.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't feel like this is enough to justify how you've lost the two side lanes because of Invoker's rotations, right? Like, the side lanes are not ideal to begin with, but the fact that you just took this time to farm Witchblade, how impactful can this item really be? Especially with the nerfs to it. Meh. I think you have to do a lot more.
I mean, I agree, right? Especially because if you can't just think about this item in isolation. Now you have to, for example, consider the Spirit Vessel, which is going to be taking down RSNT for a bit more. The Blink Dagger on Sand King, which has at least been not really fully utilized here, as they almost get the jump on a Sexy Yogi, but the coil is even better. They're going to trade RSNT for the life of Mini, and there's the Fiend's Grip. Right onto Donhai. He's going to be detected there by, I believe, the Dust.
Dunya.
And Dunya, thank you. And I'll go full American Dunna. But Dunya.
Yeah, don't, please. Hurts my ears.
Dunna. And that's a much better fight there for Balrogs. A little bit too deep there by Apu Kings, and they will pay a little bit of a price.
I'm glad you got tired of imitating Suns Fan. Now you're imitating Cap instead. It's really appropriate for this game. But I agree. I feel like that was a bit of a hasty fight there. Once again, the Fiend Script comes into play. Had they killed Sexy Yogi earlier, like, if all those things actually matter, right? In the end, that Fiend Script only came because he got that extra wave there. Now Serum is the target, and they realize, yeah, let's not. The script is too strong. If the tornado hits him, he does die, but the tornado is not long enough. Finally, they save him with South. He's going to be fine. Balrogs managed to recover slightly this early game. They still haven't really put pressure on the Morphling, but they haven't hit their items timings either with Luna. And that's when they'll actually start putting the pressure in. So for now, they're just trying to create some space, make sure Luna gets farm. That's the big goal anyway. RSNT gets rid of the swarm creep, but Hannes is still going to chase after him. Mini nearby, Cold Snap used. They want to stop the cookie, but he does go to the high ground. Spirit Vessel still taking him down, but it's not going to be enough damage to bring down this Snapfire.
Yeah, Snapfire, or at least Mortimer, are way too fast to eat the cookie. He gets so excited when he sees the cookie, so he's going to be able to eat that in between the cold snap procs that even before. For the Quas. Sorry, yes, for the Quas. And one thing I will say about this this Switchblade is yes, part of this comes off of the fight that Apu King's kind of, I don't want to say gifted, but made easy for Balrogs as Tiny is dying. Looks like the ward in between the towers here in the mid lane will at least pick up one kill, but Mini's a bit worse for wear now. He's going to Ghost Walk away. Robosetta, not really sure where he's going to end up going because Sexy Yogi's going to die. So he's going to go back, actually. He's going to retreat, and that'll be the tier 1 tower falling mid. But while on the topic of Robosetta, he's almost got the full Blink Dagger online pretty quickly after the Witchblade, all things considered.
Yeah, not bad.
Slow Witchblade timing, but a better Blink timing here.
Once again, it's about what he does with these items once he gets them, right? Like, the thing about the... Oh. Berna? Berna?
This is deep, man. This is deep from...
I don't think you kill him. I mean, Serum is here, though. Serum's like, hey, guys, they can't kill me. Sexy Yogi. There's no more Fiend's Grip. Yeah. No impetus points, actually, for Serum. And that doesn't matter. Sexy Yogi dies regardless. Here comes the help from the Tiny with the Mortimer's Kisses, but they get cancelled. That Tornado stopping it. However, Dunya is in trouble himself. Eclipse will get him, and he's gonna die. Serum in the same ball. Sorry, in the same sack as he goes and dies. I did not mean to do that. I'm so sorry. How does this? He will be able to Shikuchi himself to safety. He has the TP ready. And he's able to save himself. That was the worst Freudian slip I've ever had.
Unlike Albo, yeah, he can, no save whatsoever there. You know, he needed Panda, right? He was thinking about the Panda interview scene when he stood up and was expecting Panda to save him there with a Phonic Shield, but unfortunately, the game had already ended.
I thought the exit interviews were my lowest point in Dota, but I think I've just reached it today in this cast. I'm sorry, audience members.
It wasn't that low. Come on now. Either way.
Okay. Thank you. Swarm is ready for Onesis. But there's only 2 supports against a core here. That's going to be difficult. Tornado might sit up on the Tiny kill, but they've already lost Onesis in the process. At least EMP will get a counter kill here for Mini. Yeah, saved for a second by the Nightmare, but the Vessel will still do its job. Obviously, the biggest target for the Vessel is still the Tiny, even though he's not a core. So a good pickup here.
And this is really good space. Like, all things said, this is good space for Berna. He's still being out-farmed by the Morphling, which is of some concern, especially as Benny is going to be achieving this BKB a little bit later than Berna, actually. I believe Berna has the option now with just the recipe to disassemble this Dragonlance and show up quite strong in this fight. There's a Fiend's Grip.
Oh,
that's a Benny.
That's huge.
Kill him.
That's huge. Because you need Benny to kind of match Luna's timings to a degree, right? Without Benny, they won't be able to stave off this really powerful timing they'll hit. I'm assuming around minute 25 or so, when that BKB comes up on Luna +1, right? A BKB plus Manta. And then that's going to be really difficult for them to deal with Berna. They need the Scotty to be up a Morphling by then, and the BKB. It's a tough call, honestly.
It is a tough call, and Berna has to... Oh, he's going to leave the Bullwhip there. He says, that's a support item. I'm not picking that up. I want my big pole. Middle lane, a little bit of a skirmish now as the Meatball going to connect now onto the Tiny. RSNT this time not canceling the kisses, and this is big damage now onto Mini. They are not going to have the kill, but they will be able to secure it here with a simple, illusory orb from Robosetta.
Yep, Dunya has the blink and Berserk here if he still wants to go for Robosetta, but immediately that gets cancelled. And that was, once again, just an epicenter for the Tiny. Like, yeah, Tiny is scary and he's an OP hero right now, but I think you're wasting so many resources on the guy. And everyone else in Balrog is just having a free team fight, honestly. Mini always the target for them. I think Mini might have to consider going for the BKB, and in fact he is. Going for Midas first, of course, but then BKB. Really smart choice. You need to get rid of the Stream Coil, and Puck can no longer deviate into the Ags, right, to save himself from those BKBs. So I definitely think that should be a consideration for, honestly, all of Apu. Hell, even the Sand King should consider it. And he is. Okay, good.
And just to show you how big of an impact that one kill onto Benny really has, Berna not only has finished BKB well ahead of Benny, he's overtaken him in farm, he's reassembled the Dragonlance and continuing to farm away. Getting even probably the best neutral item I would want right now on Berna, amping the magic damage. Yes, please. If they could take a fight right before this BKB is finished, looks unlikely. I believe Benny will have it, if not with this wave, literally with one more camp. He has BKB flying towards him.
Oh, we have Blink on Tiny as well. Big deal.
Yeah, that is a big deal. Balrogs, they should smoke and fight on this. I see no reason why they wouldn't. They're not waiting for any cooldowns. Even now Assange for Puck makes it a bit tankier. Is this the smoke? White. They're just giving chase. Morphlane will have BKB on his way. Yep. There it is. Delivered. So he is still somewhat of a viable target. Luna with Mask of Madness might have the right-click damage, especially if they get him before he gets too much strength gain off with a Fiend's Grip. They might still have this kill, but Apu Kings, they're feeling pretty confident too off the back of this BKB. Mini almost has his own Midas, but that's about all they're fighting into. Bots for the Sand King, so they're just fighting off this BKB, and they're not going to be able to get a good jump here because Tiny is going to be a bit faster on his own Blink. They will not scout him as he disappears into the trees.
Once again, I got a question though, even if they got Tiny there. Is he really the best target for the smoke gank? It feels like there's a lot of resources spent on this Tiny. He's already at 3k net worth. Like, he can't get any poorer. He already got his Blink Dagger, right? I don't know. I feel like the objective taken by Apu is not the ideal one. I think they need to concentrate on different parts of the team fight. I feel like Roboteta has a pretty free game, honestly, because nobody's really trying to stun him. And to be honest, they don't have that many stuns. So the moment that Sand King initiates on, say, Tiny, that's it. Puck is free for the whole team fight.
Yeah, and here's the counter smoke down from Balrogs. They might just find Hannesis. He's not really who they want either. They would much rather have Benny, who they did just scout, push one more wave top, so they're going to be able to skirt around the Weaver. But Benny's got no more camps to farm here, so he's on his way back to the Triangle. They have scouted him on a ward, but he's now too far gone, so they will indeed settle for Hannesis.
That's a bigger deal on the Tiny, just simply because Hannesis is going for the Orchid, so he's actually the cover they're going to need for the Puck. As they also find Sexy Yogi, the cookie to the high ground, and he's able to TP. Nope, but they have to strike to cancel that. Tornado just in case. They have Serum as well. They put up a ward. That's a sentry. They deward it and also kill Sexy Yogi in the process.
Okay. For support there. I think this is still better for Balrogs. Luna's going to continue to farm more. Yes, Morphling does have this late game edge. I would still say is very accurate, especially because he is going to go for a Scotty. Luna doing the same, so you know I still feel like Luna has a pretty decent matchup if they can kind of match each other's Scotty's timings. Especially because, well, no Manta on either. No Dispels to speak of, just the BKBs. Not the best setup. I wonder if Mini is going to go straight into Ags. Not straight into Ags. Going to consider the BKB first anyway for now, and I'd agree with that. Burrow Strike, not the best setup for, you know, the Cataclysm. It's not bad, especially if you only need to kill one hero. But I'm glad to see the BKB first for the Quaswex Invoker as he begins to scale into the Exort alongside his Midas.
Also, the setup for the Cataclysm is just the Sand King, right? Essentially just Burrow Strike into Cataclysm. So if you're going to use that as the main pivotal point, that makes the team fights much harder to play. I do think the BKBs need to come beforehand, so you have more versatility. As a toss brings down Serum with a tree, yeah, that's going to be enough. At this point, Enchantress, though, is fodder. She can die as much as she wants or not. It doesn't really matter. She's there to tank smoke ganks. Obviously, don't feed like that, but if you're there to tank smoke ganks, it's fine. If the tower falls, though, that's a much bigger deal.
I'm really eager to see how RZT is going to be able to play the rest of this game now. He's got his core items online, right? Blink Dagger, Soul Ring, a little bit tankier thanks to the Treads, and now the Ag Shard. So Blink Stun is online here. That's going to significantly improve their catch and their lockdown, especially versus someone like this Morphling. The counter smoke now from Apu Kings. Setback, kicking off the fight here. Hans is already dead. Avatos combo, though, is going to nuke through the Sand King, so immediately a 5v3 fight without any ultimates used for Balrogs. They're going to be feeling bolstered by this. Straight to the pit they go to try and take down Roshan #1.
A big deal this Roche because it's also going to be around the same time as the Luna timing hits, right? And she decided to not go for the Manta, but instead for the Scotty. So not only will she hit the perfect timing, but on top of that, she's also going to be able to counter the Morphling with that item. So it's just everything is kind of falling into place for Balrogs. And that's what we were talking about, the one point of inflection, the moment where the whole team comes together. This is where Balrog starts playing real Dota. Apu Kings is going to have the hardest 5 minutes. The next 5 minutes are probably the hardest of this game, and then they can maybe recover. But it's very important for them to not lose in the next 5 minutes.
Yes, it's very important for them to not lose. Thank you, Coach. But yes, I completely agree with you, because then Balrogs are going to be able to extend this very dangerous window. If Apu Kings, if all they do for the next 5 minutes is dodge fights and maybe defend like one tier 2 tower as Aegis is about to expire, I think you're completely happy with the way this game is going to progress. Morphling still does have that core-to-core in the late game because he can just have 40 base armor casually, right? It'd be hard for heroes to nip through him, especially with this 9-second BKB. His Scotty timing is going to be later than the Luna's anyway, so I really don't think they want to be fighting right now, especially into this Aegis, so definitely dodge these fights.
Yep, I agree. And you do have good heroes to dodge these fights with, like Sand King, Weaver. You have a couple of good heroes to cut lanes with, right? And you also have a couple items. Yeah, perfect. I mean, it's common now in the offlane Sand Kings though to scale, so I like this. We actually saw Dunya play it last time, and it was exactly what RDO suggested. And RDO was like, I'm pretty disappointed with Dunya's performance, partially because he didn't go bots. He's learned. He was watching the panel, was like, RDO's right. I'm gonna go and build bots next time. I think it's a much better lineup overall. And I also like that Hannes has finally got his Orchid. So if he is now split pushing and he sees someone solo, Hannes actually has a chance to kill, especially if it's support. And that being the Bane. So not bad.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Dragon Lance now completed for Serum. He's also upping the damage a little bit. Both supports kind of scaling into cores. Something Balrogs can't really do, and they will eventually fall off. But 25 minutes, they're still as strong as ever. Berna will take a free tower down bottom. And we'll see if Berna builds a shard himself, or this has to go for the Daedalus.
Berna is considering knocking on the high ground door. I dare say this is a little risky. The enemy team still has pretty decent team fight, but you have a 9-second BKB and an Eye of Scotty. Morphline's also finished his, so he will consider, and in fact will be TPing on back. They've already, I don't think they've quite yet shown Sexy Yogi top. He's idling here, ready to Fiend's Grip someone. So Balrogs, they've quickly realized there's no one top. That means they're probably in the base with no one pushing mid, so they will back up. I like this patience, just forcing enemy heroes back and then reading the map very well as to not overextend.
Yep, I like this. If they make a mistake here, they still have like a little bit of leeway, but you lose the biggest time that you have, right? Yep. I actually think that you still have leeway until the next Roche spawns, and you can get the shard off that, genuinely. And you'll still be strong. But Berna has decided to buy a shard, which indicates to me that they want to fight a bit earlier than that.
And I think they'd be better off fighting them. Oh, well, here they go.
Oh. Yep, they got the Enchantress. She's been silenced for now, but she has the hood and soon the healing. And healing is not going to help her too much. She's going to die immediately. Dunya in the same boat. Both of them fall. Benny against the Scotty. I don't know why you're fighting this. Yes, yep, BKBs and waveforms away. Kind of a waste of the BKB.
Yep, and
I just want to say they seem kind of lost, Apple Gear Kings. What, like the Benny decided to fight a team fight. He could have waveformed away a while back. Just chose not to. Why are you fighting Berna head on for like 2 seconds?
Yeah, and now still with 90 seconds left on this Aegis, the potential for high ground does actually start to really kick in. They're going to decide to go for the tower that's already half HP. A good idea here by Berna. As without BKB now for Benny, it's very unlikely he makes an aggressive jump in, so Fortify will come through. Good moves here from Mini, who's going to TP bottom, or at least push out bottom lane. And that will at least dissuade Balrogs from going high ground with this Aegis, but again, just threatening a little bit here. Balrogs very much determining the tempo of play right now, especially after that teamfight victory. Yeah, I agree with your decision a bit, or I agree with your call. A little bit weird to fight right there. That's why I liked why Bedna was going for the shard, because I still think, especially with Aegis, but even without Aegis, I do think Luna has got the better core-to-core right now. The way that this puck is itemized and built, with now the Witchblade, Blink, and the Kaya and Sanj having been online at the time. Ags is new. Okay, didn't expect anyone to buy the Ags, but here it is. Maybe Roboseta's like, mierda! This isn't locked down through Dream Coil anymore? What are we doing?
Yeah, what is he smoking? I actually don't know why he bought this Ags. Why?
I don't know.
Reveal invisible units? Maybe for the Sand King? I can only imagine. That's the only thing. Hey, Puck. I know it's crazy, but here's my suggestion. You know with the Ags, you can buy, like, 80 dusts instead.
A lot of damage.
Yes, Jeb! Yes, Jeb! What?
I don't know, man.
Okay, I don't know, man.
But and it's, you know, luckily the spring cleaning update did kind of standardize the way that these Ags upgrades now look, which is very, very nice. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's good. Did he take the talent for it? Oh, they changed that.
They did. He did. Well, I mean, technically he did, right? Waiting rift damage is a talent, and the waiting rift cooldown. Yeah.
What would be the talent?
I am
mean,
not sold, Richie.
These are the right talents. If there's a game to test it out, this is the right build for the puck, right? So hey, I'm willing to see how it goes. I also am not really sure how this is going to end up. I share your doubts, but I think it would be irresponsible and reckless of me to not give it a chance. See how it goes.
Yeah. I'm not sold, though, because every pro and my mother all said that it was a bad Ags, right? So I think that there's a point where you got to start considering if are you right and everyone else is wrong? Maybe he's the new Seb. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know, maybe this is something that they've tried in scrims and have looked good. You know, they've got a lot more. There has to be a reason he's going for it, right? I imagine he's not just doing this because, oh, I don't know, I think it's good. Like, he must either have done it in pubs or scrims, and he's confident in it. So I'd like to see this play out.
I'm gonna ask him. I want Balrogs to win the whole series just so I can ask her what they thought about this Ags. This is I think this might be the most interesting question I ever had. Oh, I'm gonna go for the Enchanters.
Dead.
Yep, that's easy.
I mean, right now, AoE on Waning Rift. My goodness, it's not 550 AoE.
Back.
It's 550 radius.
Yeah, it's wild. Well, it's the same. Oh,
no,
right.
It is not the same thing.
Right, I see what you mean. I don't know how to do the math to do what that AoE would be in radius, but I get what you mean.
You don't remember the formula for the area of a circle, my friend?
Yeah, but can you multiply by pi squared in the middle of the cast?
It's not pi squared.
Or divide? Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. It's pi r squared.
Sorry, it's pi r squared. That's it.
Oh my god.
Right. Divide by the radius. Divide by the square root of the radius, and then divide by pi, please. In the middle of the cast, please. I beg you.
Just guesstimate it as 3.
Sure. Berna, BKB, use Benny, fighting head-on with this, but the sky is worse for Benny than it is for Berna. It seems like Benny can't really fight her head-on just yet, and he's realized this, but a bit too late. Go hit him. No more BKB. He's gonna die. Serum is also in trouble himself, and Serum is also going to fall with his toss. My opinion on morphing is changing, Richie. It's changing. Yeah. Slowly diving into a dumpster, honestly.
And this is where I was at with Morphling as well in this game. That's why I brought it up. Like I said, this is the only hero Goon Squad has ever lost with in the formation of their roster, which is not very long-lived, mind you, but this is maybe a little bit of a better fight. The Barrel Strike doesn't catch anyone, though, and he's silenced and almost immediately killed by Berna. The Glaive is bouncing around between the Ancient as well, which is already exposed now that the tier 4s are down. There's another Waning Rift, which is going to push him to the other side of the ice wall, and that will force the GG call from Outboot Kings. Balrogs are going to take game number 1, the best of 3 series.
The Ags definitely didn't win the game. I would say Benny won him the game, to be honest. But, I do think that there's still some utility there towards the end. I don't think it's worth 4,200 gold, but it's interesting. I kind of wanted to win so I can ask him. But that overall game was... It just didn't seem like a game for Apple King against, if I'm honest with you. It didn't seem like they were ever... Like, the early game was fantastic by then. They played a really good early game with Mini's rotations. And then there came a point where Balrogs was just stronger, and they just seemed to crumble and not do anything. I don't know how... Benny is back to something I used to see him do in Division 2, where he did this weird thing as a carry, which is testing the waters, right? He did this so much, and he would like go into a fight, attack twice, and be like, actually, this is a bad fight for me. And you go, well, the better the team is, the harder it is for you to do that and still get out, right? So I'm surprised he's doing that again, particularly in this weird matchup. I don't know.
Yeah.
It felt like he was testing the Morphling more than anything.
Yeah, it kind of did, right? And once again, this hero just doesn't really feel all that amazing. I forget where this appeared on Yotoro's carry tier list. I don't remember if it was F or A. I think I was either surprised or not surprised. I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, the hero just doesn't seem that good. I mean, he's got the right items. He's got a respectable amount of farm considering that they were losing the game at that stage. But yeah, just not really a good showing there for the Morphling, at least in this game 1. I would be surprised if Apu Kings go back to it, especially because we got the insider information on the panel that Benny, even if he's good at the hero, doesn't enjoy playing it. So I don't think he's going to be asking for it in game number 2.
Yeah, that's what was odd to me as well, because Gyrocopter is one of Benny's heroes, right? He forces the pick no matter what. Like, he's picked Gyrocopter in the worst games, and he'll win with that hero, right? Even in the worst of games. I'm surprised they went for a Morphling, where it's like, if you're going to deviate from your comfort, you better have a good reason to deviate from it, right? And I didn't see good enough of a reason to deal with the Morphling. But we'll see what our panel members have to say as we go back to Epulze and the boys. Oh, we don't go back to Epulze and the boys. Epulze is not ready yet. I apologize for that. This guy. Have you ever worked with a more unprofessional host, Richie?
I mean,
No
honestly,
pants.
he just stands up
No
at any
panel.
time. He just camera cuts and he stands up and he doesn't care. He doesn't even care anymore. I want to.
His interview
I
with
mean,
Panda. Oof.
I guess. Well, we have to buy more time for Avo Plus to come back. The thing with the Puck Ags build is, maybe there is a case to be made for this item against, or if your core hero has issues of normally getting kited out. I think that's where I could see this being particularly strong. It does give you, I wouldn't call it catch, but it's kind of like anti-kite, more like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you're going to run from my hero? No, you're not, right? I'm going to displace you. I'm going to increase the gap from your safe heroes. Like versus Thunder Awaken, for example, not only are you going to put Pakaz out of position, but you're going to push Pando away with this. Maybe that's really good.
The only thing I will say about the Ags is this Ags was the shard last time, right? So I'm going to go now after the games and look at Robotheda's past games. And if I don't see him buying the shard every single game he's ever played Puck, I will flame him for it. Because there's no way you think this item is not worth it at 1,400 gold, and it is 100% worth it at 4,200, right? Literally 3 times. So that's my only caveat. That's the only thing I will say about the Ags that I think is a bit... Like, sometimes pros make these deviations and these changes, and I sometimes think that we think of them higher, and sometimes small nudges by Ice Frog make them realize that something is really OP. There's no way this is a nudge that makes you think the Ags is OP. But force movement is strong. We'll see what the panel has to say as we're not ready to go over to them. Take it away, Avo Plus. Thank you, Avo. Very mean call-outs there. Hate you, Richie. But we're back here with the panel. Duster, Sexy Fat. You guys both went for Apple King of Kings. Actually, I'm going to start with you, Sexy Fat. You told me Morphling was going to be kind of decent. You thought the hero wasn't that bad. He was really lackluster. So can you explain to me why that game he didn't look that great?
I feel like they got lost after laning stage. Like, they got so many kills, and they just didn't know the time to stop and chill and farm a bit. So I think they throw a bit. Then eventually they build it up. And I mean, I don't know how to put this on Benny, but he farmed, he got his items, but the guys on the other side was just too big when he hit his timings too. So I don't know. I just felt Invoker fall off too much on this game and got too hard to Benny to carry it up.
Duster, would you agree with that? Did you find them being lost in the mid game?
Yeah, they were lost for sure, but I feel like could be a draft issue because they had 4 heroes that play very fast, but then they had Morphling that just wanted to farm. So maybe if they had something like a gyrocopter that's gonna come online sooner with the BKB, and then you can push towers with Enchantress, Alacrity, you can do more. I felt like 4 of them wanted to fight, and Morphling just wanted to farm pretty much.
Last time we watched these guys, you and RDO were a little bit critical of Dunya's performance in the Sand King last time. What did you think of his performance this time?
A bit better, at least build-wise was proper, I think, in my opinion. He went for the Boots of Travel. But again, you go for Boots of Travel when you want to scale better. Like, you want to split push, and you want to be a global threat. And in this case, I don't know if you need to get so early on, because Morphin is going to take up most of the farm from the map. So I don't know if you have any space for Boost of Travel to be that useful. I believe they could go for a more early game build and try to push towers better. It's how I see.
Sexy Fat, you're the king of builds, so I want to ask you what your opinion on that is.
If I were Sand King, I would not go travel boots. I would let my Invoker get the travel boots eventually and split the map.
Okay.
And I would try to get at least one defensive item as soon as possible, because it wasn't like a easy game for Sand King. He really needed one defensive item. He built it up for BKB, which I think is the best item he could get in this game, but it took too long to him to get the item.
Okay. Final point before we go to break. Thoughts here, because there's a debate as the cast. Thoughts on the Puck Ags? Is it worth a buy, Duster?
I don't know. I didn't see it being useful at all. I can see the only situation I can see being useful is when you get level 25 and you can do coil break with the Axe, and it's gonna pierce through BKB with the talent. Yeah. But he was level 21. He was not even close to the talent. So I don't know. Lackluster to me.
Sexy Fat?
Yeah, I have to agree with Duster on this one.
Okay. We'll see what Apple Kings can come up with in game number 2, as they really need this win They need to recover from the loss to Lava as well if they want to still get the top 4 they managed to get last season. And Balrogs is looking like a scary contender already, coming from Division 2 straight into beating 2 Division 1 teams already, but not quite securing the last series against Beast Coast. We'll see what they're capable of doing in this game too as we take a small break and come back with more SA Dota.